Hi team, Jackie Mang here. So today I want to share with you is about the ABSD and why my personal view, right, is that it may slow down the market by a little, but not much. So let me share with you the 3 reasons. Okay, so let's recap on the cooling measures. In fact, this cooling measure, I would say that is one of the most harsh one, okay? Because not just the increase on the ABSD, but also on the borrowing limits of the buyers. But let's go deeper into the cooling measures. Okay, so let's break it down. For the total units sold, okay, this is the data that I got from URA, okay, is the residential units, landed, non-landed, and also ECs as well. Okay, so why I include EC as well, because that is also our first timer buyers, right? Okay, as agent, we are selling EC also. So this, I also included that. Okay, so these are the numbers. So for Singaporean, of course, the highest number, okay, 30 over 1,000. And total, we have 37,000 transactions. Of course, you may say that, yeah, Jackie, a landed actually doesn't, no foreigners can buy or no SPR can buy. But the truth is, some of our landed properties are being purchased by SPR and foreigners. But of course, they have the special approval. So how many units are transacted? Total, there are about 3,006, so about 10% of the total transactions. So my point here is that I want to share is that in 2021, because of COVID, okay, that's why actually a lot of purchase are done by local Singaporean or based on local demand. Okay, so SPR is a good 14% as well. And then I also break them down into the 3 different years. 2019, 2020, and 2021. Okay, you can see that the total number at the bottom. Okay, so from 19,000 to 22,000 to 37,000, my goodness. Okay, so what does these numbers make sense to you, right? So first I look at the percentage. Okay, so the percentage is based on their residents, like Singapore PR and foreigners, okay? So you can see that actually over the years, actually back in 2021, actually it's only increase of like 3%. But that 3% is increased by a lot because everyone increased. And of course, followed by SPR as well. Okay, so year on year, these are the difference. So from 2019 to 2020, okay, for Singapore increased by 19%, SPR 10%, and check out 2020 to 2021. So you see, from 18,000 to 30K for Singaporean, that is like 65% increase, increment. And SPR also, 3,001 to 5,000. And check out the others, the rest. So that's why actually from the numbers you can tell, all these are actually majority are based on local demand. Foreigners actually not much. In fact, they dropped back in 2020 because of the traveling restriction. But now as the borders start to open up, maybe we will see more foreigners coming in. And that is why actually the ABSD tax, they tax more on the foreigners, but not really for the locals and the first timer SPR. So I feel this will really help like for us to talk to our client about ABSD. Okay, and not just this. And part 2 about the ABSD is about the borrowing limits, right? So I did up this table. You can see based on 10K income, a 30-year loan difference followed by 25-year loan difference and 20 years loan difference between the 60% and the new 55%. How much are they? Okay, so at a glance, you may say that, wow, how my client can, how the buyer can afford like 100 over 1,000, okay? You can see the difference of that 5% of your loan to value, but actually it means a lot to the buyer in terms of cash outlay. However, this graph actually I got it from Rex, our AC training, right? Okay, so this research is done by DBS. So what they did, this is a mortgage to income ratio by age and also by income group. So you can see like from below 30, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and so on and so forth. you can see that even the highest, that means the number on top of the red bar, that is the highest, highlighted in gold color. So the percentage is way below than the 55%. And look at the blue color one, that is the lowest percentage, the bottom one. Okay, so definitely from this graph, you can tell that the mortgage to income ratio is way below that 55%. And this research is done by the bank. Okay, so like that, actually, you can also see that actually the number two, the second choice, I mean the second of the cooling measures, second point of the cooling measures is not, it won't really affect the buyers much. Okay, because most buyers have lower mortgage liability than 55%. In fact, if you ask me, most buyers or most clients that I met, right, most of them, they are all affected by the down payment. That means the 25% down payment. They don't have enough cash or CPF for that, or the stamp duties. So in terms of TDSR, actually from 60 to 55%, it won't affect them much. Then lastly, it's about this reduced HDB loan to value, 90% to 85%. But in fact, if you ask the buyers these days, most of them, they are using bank loan instead of HDB loan. Agree? Okay, but of course, I mean, just for comparison's sake, I also did up the difference. Like 400K house, 600K house, and 800K house. What does it mean? Okay, so this one actually, I think quite straightforward. I will skip this. Then come to my third point. Okay, so on 31st of December, our minister gave us a surprise. Okay, not really a surprise. They just talk about it again, which is the GST. So slowly but surely, our GST will be increased. And that is my third point. Okay, there are more factors, in fact, that will drive the prices up. One thing will be the GST. So why this GST will affect the price? Because imagine yourself today as the developer. Who do you think the GST will they put? I mean, will they incur the cost themselves, or who will they pass this cost to? Okay, the answer is quite straightforward. Usually the end consumer will pay. Just like you and me daily when we buy things from GST registered stores, or go to restaurant with GST registered, or go to restaurant, right? We need to pay the GST. So same thing. Buying a house next time, yes, we won't be charged GST, but they will factor it into their cost as well. So lastly, as you can see from the graph, Singapore is one of the lowest in terms of property price index growth since the COVID period. So what does that mean? So it means that actually throughout the COVID period, Singapore price, okay, Singaporean or like local news, we always say that, wow, Singapore property price increased by a lot. But if you compare Singapore growth with the rest of the world, Singapore's growth actually is not that significant. And it means that actually it is also wise for foreigners or investors. It's a very stable economy. And thanks to our previous cooling measures as well. That's why our prices has been quite on a steady growth. So in summary, the response to the cooling measures, right? Number one, the majority are all by local demand. So ABS and plus ABSD doesn't really affect the first timer or upgraders. So it won't really affect the market much. And two, most buyers have lower mortgage liability than 55%. So actually no problem on the borrowing part. And 3.1, okay, there are more factors to drive up the property prices. For example, will be GST is one of them. And also, of course, like other things like the construction costs and all this. And lastly, Singapore is still a safe haven for investors. So with the borders opening up, more VTL, likelihood that foreigners will come into Singapore market again. So this will be my response to my client, that prices will still go up, okay, but now because of the ABSD, it may slow down for a little, but prices will still go up eventually. So that's all about my sharing or my response to ABSD. Hope you like the video. So that will be my sharing about the ABSD and cooling measures. And I hope you can also do the same next time when someone asks you about the cooling measures and what's your point of view, because that is very important for agents. And I hope you can also share that with your friends and relatives during the CIY gatherings. So see you soon.